today I'm going to talk about what I created in August 2015, so 8 months ago. This is what I like to call the multiple 4-Force franchise. And this is what I'm going to tell you today. Okay, but before I tell you this, back when I was at Einstein High School my freshman year, the 2010-2011 school year, and there's actually proof that I have been, you could go on the school website and check the honor roll of the 9th graders of the 2010-2011 school year. For the 2010 half of the school year, I met Ali Bakayoko, who's my best friend. He was in the LFI program, special ed, so was I. But even though I was actually meant to graduate, and I did, 2014. I'm a mixture between special ed and regular ed. But I met him, and then before that I met David Thatch from Newport Mill Middle School, who graduates from Einstein next year, and then Jared Cranwinkle, who moved to another school and I think graduated 2014. They were both 17, Ollie and Jared, and that's how I thought of the multiple 4-Force. So Jared decided to have us be a group, just the four of us walking around the school, hanging out with each other, brightening people's days. And this is what happened. We did real good, and because we brightened people's days, and there's more to it, but in my time, I faced enemies, and what I call them is the Cruel Squad. Red people who were injected with hot water and red drinks like cherry Kool-Aid and whatnot. But they had heat vision and laser beams from their left first finger. So what happened was, what used to happen is that I used to go around, we used to go around following this guy named Adrian, who graduated, I think, 2013, because he would call me Osama bin Laden repeatedly, and he tried to jump Ollie in the locker room with 5 other guys. But this is what happened. We went around following him and laughing at him. But when we became a group of 4, and when we started going after him, because violence never solves anything, y'all. Using your words and non-violent things are the way. But this is what I'm going to show you. This is a multiple 4-Force defender called, they're called the Defenders since the D is the 4th letter in the alphabet. This is the first one. This is the second one. This is the third one. And this is the 4th one. You know how they have 4 different colors, red, blue, black, and white? Well, that's them. And their weapons are the DMR, the DMR is loaded with 4,000 ammunition and has 4 grenades. The assault rifle has ammunition of 4,400. The shotgun has 44 ammunition inside. And here is the electrocution vaporizer, which is 44,444,400 volts of electrocution. Like if you see the futuristic movies, they have those kinds of guns. And if you played Jack 3, when you went to the blue area of the guns, he used an electrocution vaporizer. But I use 4 because when we were a group, we started out brightening people's days and making people's days, but we also followed a dude around the name of Adrian who was a bully. Like, he called me Osama bin Laden repeatedly just because I had fully grown facial hair, and him and 5 guys tried to jump Ollie in the locker room. But yeah. But since the multiple 4-Force franchise takes place in the 4400s, because when we became a group, it was the year 2011, February 14th, Monday of 2011. We decided to become a group and walk around the school brightening people's days. But in the year, it started in the year 411 AD during the Roman Empire times. A big group of 444,440 men decided to become an organization called the Multiple 4-Force. And I have another sketchbook. This is one with the crossbow. And this right here says, we are 444,400 men ready to fix the planet and overthrow the Roman Empire and 40 Kadai, of course, and I'll explain who they are in one moment. They're like Jedi Knights from Star Wars, but the Kadai, the U is silent. They all decided to become a big group in the year 411. The Kadai, let me explain this. The Kadai were injected with gorilla blood, polar bear blood, camel's blood, and cold water to make them like Jedi. So when they use the Force, they roar. It's called the Kadai Call. And the defenders, they were injected with, right here it says for the last defender, it says, we are 4,444,440,000 men, and our 4 injections are water, cold, cow milk, green veggie juice, and camel's blood. And we will fight till we win. The Kadai and the defenders are on the Same team, but the Kadai are the generals, but it's not the Kadai way to kill unless necessary, like the Jedi. But they helped overthrow the Roman Empire. They didn't get that armor that they wore until 416. And for my other sketchbook, let me show you something. Alright, this is what they wore before they wore their armor. And right here, it says the year 411 through 415, and it says we are 444,400 defending men, of course, with our 40 generals, the Kadai. We're ready to take on the Romans. This is what they look like. They wore a suit. It says M4F Ancient 411 through 415 defenders with a regular uniform and with a white mask. And this is their crossbow. And let me read this to you. When it was February 14th, 411, all the M4F defenders killed all the slave owners and guards in Italy. I mean, in Italian cities around the country, split up into 100 groups of 4,444 is what they did to free slaves, and had Romans that stoned people as 40-year prisoners, either that or shot in the abdominal area till they suffered and died. Within 4 years have freed 10 million people, but January 1st, 411 through February 14th, 411, Asia, Africa, then Europe spent 2,844,444,444,444 golden coins on their crossbows, but China built their uniforms for free. It was their armor 5 years later that costed a lot of money to create. But I used my imagination. I couldn't have done it without Ali, Jared, and David. But yeah, David again I knew from Newport Mill Middle School for the 2009-2010 school year. I met him back October 9th, Friday of 2009, when we were going on a community trip at the Wheaton Mall. But we became the Multiple Four Force, and that's how I created that. And they go against these two enemies called the Cruel Squad, but fortunately win the war. This is a Cruel Squad trooper, and of course they've been injected with hot water and red drinks. This one's saying the Multiple Four Force may have the money and those invisible wrist gadgets, but they don't have the heat vision or finger shock with we have that, and we will kill anyone who gets in our way. And there's a female, of course, because this is what she says. We are 2,444,444,444 men and women who started this war on May 4351, and we're injected with red drinks in our heads and red drinks and cold water, and we are ready to crush those men who always come in armies of force. Pathetic. Back in the year 2411, they haven't gone through a lot. They just wanted power over the world. That's all they wanted since February 14th, 411. They tried to have control of the world and overthrow the multiple force. They couldn't start until its birthday, but every enemy that the multiple force has tries to overthrow the organization on the organization's birthday, February 14th. But they won the war because it was a 60-year war, February 14th of 4351 through May 17th, 4411. They signed the civil treaty to not zap and kill anyone unless for serious self-defense, and if not, 6 years in a federal prison. But they won, fortunately. But they've been around for years, the multiple force, but it's based on my life event. That's why I came up with it. But it was black men. I don't know what race one of my best friends, Jared Cranwrinkle, is, but he's some race. But I made it Spanish men because I got along with a lot of Spanish men, and it was Asian men. It was 222,220 black men, 222,220 other men, like 111,110 Spanish men and 111,110 Asian men that started it. But they won, fortunately. I just want y'all to know that I created something myself. And there's more to it. There's more to it, but let me tell you something. I had issues with, I used to get along with Adrian's girlfriend, but this is what happened. When it was, I think, May 4th Wednesday of 2011, I was laughing at him as he was going upstairs to escort his girlfriend to her class. When he calls me a punk and then the B word, I say, oh, I'm a punk and the B word? You and 5 guys were gonna jump one person in the locker room. He runs after me and I run, but not because I'm scared of him, y'all, but because I wanted him to pay for how he's been to me and what he tried to do to him. I wanted him to pay, but I didn't want him to get in serious trouble. Like, because if you assault someone, you get in serious trouble for that. You go to prison, or charges will be pressed. And I didn't want him I didn't want that to happen. I just wanted him to pay. I just wanted to take away his comfort and all of that. And then later on, after getting done with my fourth period class, she says, OMG, this little boy was bothering Adrian. And then she said, he better stop or he's gonna give him something that he won't like, as in he would fight me. And then when I finally defeat him and his girlfriend, because me and my crew were following him around the school so that I could laugh at him, his friends got away from him, and the only person he could go to was his girlfriend. So they sat next together and they were staring at me in a mad, angry look. She said go to class to me, but I was laughing at both of them because he thinks he's all tough, but not. He tried to hit me with this keychain. If he were a real man, he would try and fight me with his hands. But I can fight, y'all. Watch this. I can fight. But yeah, I defeated him and his girlfriend. That's why I had 1,222,222,222 men and 1,222,222 women. So we went against him and her. The last time was we went against him and her. And I never saw her ever since I was laughing at him and his girlfriend sitting together on the floor at Einstein. For the hallway that's near the PE room and near the locker rooms. But, yeah. And then on May 17th, Tuesday of 2011, me and my crew were standing in the main street hallway laughing at him one more time. And then he turns around like this, like that. And then we slowly walk away from him and we get to the small hallway where the vending machines are and near the auditorium. He stomps like this. He stomps like that. And we run from him, but only so that he doesn't get in trouble because he wants to hurt me and Ali. But then when we go into the hallway near the PE room and near the locker rooms, he walks up to me slowly. I back up a little bit because I don't want him to hit me and get in trouble. And then I tell him to calm down. And this bald-headed white teacher with the beard says, go away. And then I tell him that I'm not trying to bother people. And he says, you are trying to bother people. Go. And then I say to Ali, Jared, and David, I say, come on, y'all, let's go. Because I was angry because he wouldn't listen to me when I was just trying to tell him that I was getting him back for trying to jump my man Ali, my best friend, in the locker room because he had my back when the upperclassmen messed with me, when Trey Robinson messed with me, but I got along with him later, and 12th grader light-skinned guy Travis, when he threw a ball at my head and he avenged me by throwing a pencil at him and hitting him with a tennis racket. He got in trouble for me and he got suspended for what he did to Travis. And then he kicked him in the knee March 3rd, Thursday of 2011. He was running away from him, but only because he didn't want him to get in trouble. Because Ali is 6'6", and he could beat anyone. He could have beaten anyone at that school, Einstein. But I walked away, and I did because I had my homies with me, and no one snitched on me. They're my best friends, though, Ali, Jared, and David, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. And then my teacher, Miss Williams, 4th period math teacher, I went into her classroom and asked her if I could put on my deodorant in her classroom, and she said yes. And then, after that, put it on. Then when there were people outside standing in the rain, the four of us went outside and then ran into the rain, had fun celebrating that it was a victory and that we didn't have to get them anymore. Because it had lasted for 1 whole month only, just May, but we got them. We got them. And later on, he told the security guards on me, and when I had Mr. Stratton 7th period, and so did Ali, we got out of that classroom, and Mr. Stratton said to the two security guards that these two are going to get clocked, and then he says, I'm going to call his dad. And then the regular at staff called my dad, and my dad says, do you want them to kick me out of there because my behavior was bad? But it improved later on before I had gone to Kennedy, because I was still in the LFI program. But we were good in the end. He got to stay at Einstein, but I moved to Kennedy, then Watkins Mill, then graduated. But it's all good. But soon, y'all, I will come up with the multiple 4-force and make it a worldwide fame thing. Everyone will know about it. Gonna make 6 parts into movies, some into series on TV, but if not, then a TV series. But yeah. But let me say one more thing. The multiple 4-force had 40 trillion men to protect and 20 trillion women. Because if you go in society, you always see 4 guys walking and hanging out together, and you see 2 ladies hanging out and walking together. Since men always come in 4s and women always come in 2s, I put it that way. But the reason why the men have the women outnumbered is because the women were going out working and the men were staying home and cooking. Not only that, but the women were also making more money than the men, and the men were not making as much money. But that's all for today, and have a nice day, y'all.